Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dan Greer right here with Leading from the Middle of the Pack. And today we're going to be talking all about like bringing energy to the room. And so I'm trying something brand new. Okay. I'm going to try this vlog, like a video blog slash podcast slash video thing. And we're going to upload it to a couple different places, but I wanted to see how it would work. And so today I just want to talk a little bit about bringing energy to the group. And I want to just really go over that. That way we've got a good, clear understanding. So we'll cue up the theme song. All right, and then we'll be right back in just a minute. The big question is this: how are leaders, like us, who aren't necessarily in a management position, who go out and get our hands dirty, who are ready to answer their calling from God to lead, who are driven to learn and grow, gain the trust and respect of those around us, to actually be heard while not coming across as an authoritative prick? These are the questions, and this is the podcast that will give you the answers. Hi, my name is Dan Greer, and welcome to Leading from the Middle of the Pack. Awesome! So glad you guys are back. Stoked that you're here. Well, today I just want to take a few seconds and I want to say how awesome it is to have you guys here and how awesome it is to like experiment and try this new thing. And if you can't tell, been doing a little bit of like experimenting with the office. Got some good stuff, fun stuff going on here. We've got some new stuff in the background, and we're going to actually redo the ceiling here in a little bit. That's super cool. But today is going to be all about like experimenting and having a ton of energy as a leader, and why it's so important to have energy. So I just want to really start with saying how important it is to bring energy to the room, because here's the thing: is like I guess what I found is like whenever I go in and I go to talk to people, there's a few things that happen. And the first thing that happens is that if I don't have energy, the whole room doesn't have energy, right? So I got to be real honest with you. I jumped on a call with somebody this morning and it was like, hey, I'm super excited. I want to work through this. I'm trying to build this presentation. I'm doing all this. We're doing all that. And like I get on the phone with this dude, and this dude is like, what's up? It's like 7:45 in the morning. I haven't had enough coffee yet. And it's like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? Like, for reals. Like, you gotta have energy. Every time you talk to me, you gotta have energy, because I've got energy, and like you just like sucked it all right out of me. I didn't tell him that, but I was like, man, you gotta be kidding me. Like, how do we get better at this? And so I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, I know how to get better at it. I know exactly how to get better at it. This is what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna create a podcast on it. I'm gonna talk all about energy and why you gotta have so much energy, and why it's so important to have energy as a leader. And so one of the things that I really want to like get into here is like you've got to have energy. And I know that I've said that. I know I've said it a lot, but the truth is you have to have it. If you don't have energy, nobody else in the room is going to have energy either. And I know that you're going to be like, dude, Dan, I just don't have that much energy. Like I just can't do this. Well, who do you want to be around? Right? I want you to think about that for a second. Do you want to be around the people who have a massive amount of energy, or do you want to be around the people who are like, well, right? You want to be around the people who've got a ton of energy, because guess what? They actually give you energy, right? And so, how do you think as a leader it's going to feel if you walk into a room and you're like, oh, like, oh, geez, I'm so tired. I'm just exhausted. How do you think the whole room's going to be? They're going to pick up your energy because you're the leader, and they're going to be like, oh, I'm so exhausted. It's okay to be tired. And then when you see him the next day, this dude who was super high energy the day before is now going to be like, oh, I'm so tired, right? Because guess what happened? He fed off of your energy the day before, and they try to mimic you and they try to mirror you. Now, not everybody's like this, but the majority of people, you know, we know what LaPointe Hill says in like Outwitting the Devil. He says that only 2% of the world's population is driven, right? Motivated to get something done. Only 2% of the world's population are leaders. They're driven. 98% of the world's population are just happy floating. They're what he calls drifters. They just drift along, right? And so that's like part of it is like you've got to be driven, and you've got to show that you're driven, because people are going to pick up on your energy, and they're going to pick up on what's going on around you and what's going on around them. And then you know what else they do? They like to mimic success. Whether you realize it or not, you're always mimicking success. if you have something that you think is absolutely awesome, you're going to mimic it. Now, that's for a whole different podcast. Today, we're talking all about energy and why you've got to have a lot of energy and why you need to bring a lot of energy and why you need to feel like maybe you're over the top whenever you deliver. So there's a lot of people that come to me and they're like, I'll get done with the training, I'll get done with something, and they'll go, oh my gosh, I wish I had as much energy as you have. And it's like, dude, you don't understand. I muster up all of my energy for this presentation, right? And it's kind of funny. I was out with my wife the other day, and we went to this one. We were cruising around. It was a super busy day. So like we had a meeting at like 8:00 in the morning in town, and then we had another meeting at like 9:30, and then another one at like 10:30, and then we had a lunch with somebody else, and then I had another meeting after that, and then we had another meeting after that. Then we had to go do a whole bunch of stuff with kids. And she looked at me after the first meeting, and she goes, "How do you do it? Like, do you just drink like coffee all day? How do you have so much energy with all these people? Like, is this your typical day?" She's like, "This is super eye opening to me. Like, what's going on and what you're doing and how you're doing it." And so she had a ton of questions on it, and it was actually really good for her to spend the day with me because she was like, "Oh man, he does do something. He's not just a lazy bum." But no, my point is like we started going through all this, and she's like, "How do you do it?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just like pull everything that I have to have energy for each of these meetings." And so we were on our second or third meeting, and we only had one vehicle in town. We lived like 30 minutes outside of town, so we were like, "Oh, we'll just ride together and spend the day. There would be some great quality time, and she'll go to my meetings with me, and I'll do some stuff with her, and it'll be great. And she can go do her stuff in between the meetings, or like when I'm in a meeting that I don't need her, right?" And so we were after our first meeting, we went and had coffee with this guy, and then we had another meeting, and then I went and had one more after that, and she went from like I just gave her the pickup. And when I did my second, third meeting, I just they were in the same spot, so I just met with both people in the same area, and she dropped me off, and I was like a little bit down, and she's like, "Are you gonna be okay? You gonna have enough energy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be good. Don't worry. I'm just like storing it up, right?" And so then she picks me up after the next one, and she goes, "Well, I could tell like you were super high with that first guy, and then like I was a little worried about with the second one, and then like I picked you up after the third guy, and it was like you were just drained." And then she's like, "You got the pickup, and you just went like mellow. You just went like chill." And she's like, "And then we got out of the truck to go eat lunch with the next meeting, and you were like just super high energy again, like you were like at the top of your game, just like that. How did you turn it on and turn it off so much?" And she's like, and then we got done with that meeting, and like I went into chill mode as I went into the next one, and then we traveled to the next meeting, and then I went into super high energy for the next one, just turn it on, right? And I was right there, and I was all over it. And she looked at me on the way home, and she goes, "How do you do it? Like, how do you turn it on and turn it off?" She's like, if this is what you do, like it's super eye-opening that you do this all day, every day. And it's like, no wonder you're exhausted because you enter each one of these meetings with like so much excitement and so much energy and so much just like vip and vigor, right? You're just like ready to go. And she's like, no wonder people want to be around you because you're jazzing them up. Like they're feeding off of your energy. Like she's like, you're a gas tank for people for energy. And they get near you and they just go, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool how much energy you have," right? So as a leader, we've got to have a ton of energy. And we've also got to learn how to turn it on and turn it off and be able to use it. Now, I've got a couple tricks, and I'm going to give you some tricks that I've got up my sleeve, like give me energy, because I did this like right before I get here, okay? So are you ready? This is what I'm going to do. And I know like if you're listening to this podcast and you're not watching it, you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, what is Dan doing? I can't see this." So I'm going to explain what I'm doing. So if you're watching it, like don't be like, "Oh, Dan's an idiot." But anyways, so there's a few things I do. Number one is I've got a playlist, and I call it Setting the Stage, okay? So I learned all this stuff from Tony Robbins. And I've got a playlist called Setting the Stage. So I created my own playlist. It's music that jazzes me up, that gets me going. It's my music. It's stuff that I've like not necessarily created, but like extracted. So I have songs on there that I know bring me joy, right? They give me they change my physiology. So I'll turn on the music and I'll crank it up real loud, okay? Then the second thing that I do is like I like jump around. So you gotta like jump a little bit, right? And if you're at home, you should be doing this. You should totally be like jumping. And it sounds kind of crazy, but there's something about jumping that just like gets your body going, okay? Now, the next thing I do, and this is like totally me, is like I found a way to make a move. And what I mean by make a move is like you've got something that like pumps you up and you do it and you get yourself excited whenever you do it. So for me, it's like, yes! And I pump my fist forward, right? So like I'll do some jumping while the music's on, and I'll like stop and I'm like, yes, 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 okay? And so like I get myself pumped up and I get myself ready to go. And then like my whole body changes, and you could see it right now. You can probably even hear my voice. Like my energy level just rose another 10 decibels, right? It's like I'm already more excited than I was a minute ago. I'm actually getting ready to take off the sweatshirt now if I have to keep this stuff up because, like we're moving around a lot and it's really good, but you got to have that high energy, right? And as a leader, you've got to have that high energy. You've got to bring that energy all the time. Now, the other trick that I have that's super big, it's super important, is you've got to eat right. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like, have you ever noticed when you eat junk, you feel like junk? So I never used to notice this because I ate crap constantly. I never actually filled my body with good fuel. And then I started listening to these podcasts like Dean Graziosi, Joe Miriam, Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, all these people. And they're like, oh, you have to eat right. If you eat right, you'll feel right. And then it's like your brain. Brennan Burchard is like huge on this. And I think it's Jim Quick. He talks about the power of learning somebody's name and stuff like that. I want to say this Jim Quick. But anyways, both those guys talk about like superfoods for your brain, like blueberries and walnuts and stuff like that are super big for you. So like super great for you, not super big for you, but super great for you. And what I found is like whenever I go eat out and I go eat like fast food, okay, there's certain kind of fast foods that are okay for me and give me more energy. Like I can go get a sandwich and it's going to be really good because I can pile on the veggies and I can make it really good. And I can just put like mustard on there and no mayo and I can do like salt and pepper, right? And it's really good. And I can do double protein and stuff like that. But if I go to like Burger King, right? Even though like the smell of Burger King to me is really good and most people probably don't think this way, or Wendy's is the same way to me for the most part as well, right? Like it smells good to go there. Maybe there's some nostalgia. Maybe there's something like, remember my kids as real little going there and like being able to actually eat for like $25. But anyways, for a family of 6, but I digress. My point is that like, I would go like when I walk in there, it smells good. Right. But then I eat it and I feel like crap afterwards. And like my brain slows down. Right. So what I've found is like, I have to put the right food into my body. I have to put the right fuel into my body. And the best way I can explain this, like if you're a car guy, you'll get this. Okay. So if you go through and you've got like a super high performance car, let's say that you've got I don't know, a Lotus, like a Ford Lotus. I don't know. I'm just picking a car name out of the sky. Let's say you got like a Ford Lotus, and then let's say you got like a Volkswagen Bug. That Ford Lotus, if you don't put premium fuel in it, it's not going to run right. Right? It's going to get tings in it, and all of a sudden it's not going to be working right. And then after a while, it's going to get gummed up, and then it's going to you have to take it to the shop. You're going to have to do maintenance to it, right? Whereas that Bug, it's okay to run on the cheaper fuel and the less premium fuel because that's the way it is. Like even the Ford Taurus, right? Whatever, doesn't matter what brand it is, but like the cheap cars, they can run on that cheap stuff, right? And if you leave the fuel to take too long, and now it's got ethanol and all this other crap, like there's a whole new thing that goes on there, but it like gums up and turns into like cornmeal. But anyways, my point is like if you want a premium vehicle, you have to put premium fuel in it. If you want premium, output, you have to put premium fuel into your body. And so, yes, changing your physiology, changing what you do, getting yourself pepped up with music, like telling yourself, yeah, I got this, making a move. That's all big, right? But if you don't have the right food, if you don't have the right diet, if you don't have the right protein, if all you're doing is eating sweets and donuts and cake and junk, you're going to feel like junk, right? Not only are you going to look like junk, you're going to feel like junk, right? So you got to put the right stuff into your body. And that's like really huge. And I never used to understand that. So as leaders, it's really, really big to like, if you want energy, if you want to be that leader who has a ton of energy, you've got to put great food into your body. You can't just put good food. You can't put mediocre food. You have to put great food into your body. And so like we do a lot of like quinoa salads right now for lunch. Like Jenna and I will have like a quinoa salad, and sometimes it's like Greek or she makes this awesome like spinach sweet potato one that we both love a lot. That's got, I don't know, some of the kind of dressing on it. I'd lie to you if I told you what it was. It's like honey Dijon mustard or something like that she makes. Everything's all homemade, right? She cooks it all and puts it all together. It's absolutely awesome. And we throw a bunch of protein in it, like chicken and stuff like that. And then like feta cheese. But anyways, and then we'll throw like superfoods in there, like goji berries and walnuts and blueberries and stuff like that are really good for your brain. And I feel so good after I eat that food, right? And so I just, one of the things that I want to do is like, with this is I really wanted to point out that like as a leader, you've got to have energy, and there's a few key things that you can do to give yourself some energy to kind of like push through this stuff. And like changing your physiology is the easiest way to give yourself more energy, right? Put on some great music that you love, like create yourself a playlist that's called Setting the Stage or whatever, and whatever you want to call it, right? But don't just like play it all the time. Only play it when you need energy. Only play it when you're trying to get into that certain state, because if you play it all the time, then all of a sudden those songs are going to become blah, and you've got to find new songs to get you going, okay? Now, then the next step of that is, right, give yourself some energy, like move around, okay? Change it. Get going with what you're doing. Jump around, get your blood flowing, do some push-ups, right? Do stuff like that. And then the next step after that is going to be like putting the right fuel into your body, getting yourself some good fuel so that you can be a good leader. Because if your mind isn't functioning right, if you're not functioning right, if you can't have the energy because you're not putting the right fuel into the tank, then how can you expect to, operate at premium when you're using subpar fuel to go into your body, right? If all you're doing is eating fast food and French fries and grease, your mind is going to be sludge and slow. But if you're eating nice, good, clean foods like greens and proteins and stuff like that, it's going to be absolutely awesome and amazing. So the very last thing I want to talk about, guys, whenever we get to energy, is just like why it's so important to have energy. Because we a little bit ago, like when we first started this, we talked a lot about how other people feed off of you, or how you feed off of other people. And I want to make sure that like I reiterate that, because it's so important as a leader that we show up in the room and that we're present, and that we carry a presence with us as leaders that other people see. Right? Now, I'm not saying that you always have to be the most excited person in the room. I'm not saying that you always got to be happy. I'm not saying that you always got to be there. But you do have to show up the majority of the time like that. Because guess what? When a leader always shows up negative, nobody's going to want to be around him. And they're not going to be a leader for very long. And maybe they're going to be a leader to negative people. And who wants to be a leader to somebody who's negative? I got to tell you that, like me personally, I want to be around super positive people. I want to be around people who are pushing me up, not people who are dragging me down. I don't always want to be taking a rope and like lifting people up to the next level. There's times that I want to be helped up to the next level. I want to be in the middle. I want to be surrounding myself with people who are better than me, people who I can help up, right? Because that allows me to contribute, and people who I can help learn from as well. Okay. And so that's the big thing, is like you have to figure out how to be that leader with energy, even when it's hard. And that's why I was giving you guys these tips today, is because it's not always going to be easy to show up with energy, right? It's not always going to be easy to show up to be positive, but that's what being a leader is. It's showing up. Now, I got one thing that I got to tell you guys about before we get going. I'm just about ready to wrap this up. We are doing a leadership hackathon in San Diego. Now, this is going to be absolutely freaking phenomenal. It's going to be so fun. It's San Diego. It's 2 days. It's March 22nd, 23rd. It's like, get signed up right now, okay? And here's the thing. It's not very much. It's like $497 for 2 full days of leadership training. Like, that is nothing. And you get to go to San Diego on top of that. You can't beat that at all, okay? So I want you guys to go to that and check it out. It's eclipsedot.org, and then it's /San Diego. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye.